Hey Taurus, I need to sit down with you for a bit because something really significant is showing up in your energy right now. I have been doing readings all week, and when I pulled cards for your sign today, I had to pause, like actually stop what I was doing and really take in what the universe is trying to communicate to you. So here's the thing, there is someone in your life, or maybe someone who used to be a big part of your life, and they are going through something right now that they did not see coming. You have shifted. You have genuinely shifted in a way that has caught them completely off guard. And I know you might be thinking, what are you talking about? I am just living my life. But that is exactly it. You are just living your life. And that simple act of moving forward without them, without their validation, without their presence being this central thing you orbit around, that is what is absolutely shaking their foundation right now. I want to be really honest with you about what I am seeing because this reading is not about them coming back or some big reconciliation. This is about you recognizing your own power and understanding what is actually happening in the energetic space between you and this person. They can feel your absence, not just physically, but energetically. And it is doing something to them that they were not prepared for. Let me pull the cards and show you exactly what I am picking up on. Okay, so the first card that came through, and I am not even surprised by this, is the Eight of Pentacles. Now, usually when this card shows up, people think about work and dedication and mastering a craft. And yes, that is part of it. But the reason this card is showing up first in your reading is because it is highlighting something crucial about where you are right now versus where this other person is. The Eight of Pentacles is you, Taurus. You have been putting in the work. Not the flashy, look at me, I am healing kind of work. The quiet, consistent, day after day, brick by brick work of rebuilding yourself. You have been focused on your own development, your own skills, your own path forward. And here is what is so powerful about this card in your reading. You are not doing this work to prove anything to anyone. You are not grinding away at your personal development so that one day this person will see what they lost. You are genuinely invested in your own growth for your own reasons. And that is what is driving them absolutely crazy right now, because they can sense it. On some level, conscious or unconscious, they can feel that your energy is no longer directed toward them. Your focus, your effort, your dedication, it is all going into building something that does not include them. The Eight of Pentacles is showing me that you have found purpose and meaning in your own journey, and that self-sufficiency is like a mirror being held up to them, showing them exactly what they do not have. Think about the imagery of this card for a second. There is a craftsman completely absorbed in his work. He is not looking around to see who is watching. He is not checking to see if anyone approves. He is in his own world, perfecting his craft, card after card, coin after coin, building something of value through pure dedication. That is you right now. You are in your own world, building your own value, and you are not looking back to see if they are watching. And they are watching, Taurus, even if they are not physically present in your life. Their energy is tuned into yours because they can feel the shift. They can feel that you have redirected all of that beautiful, stable, devoted Taurus energy away from them and toward yourself. And for someone who maybe took that energy for granted, who maybe assumed it would always be there waiting for them, this is a massive wake-up call. The Eight of Pentacles is also telling me that you have been learning new things about yourself. Maybe you have picked up new skills. Maybe you have invested in education or training. Maybe you have just been deeply focused on understanding yourself better. Whatever form it is taking, you are in a season of mastery. You are mastering the art of being whole on your own. And that is not something everyone can handle witnessing in someone they used to have access to. There is also this element with the Eight of Pentacles about quality over quantity. You are not out here trying to fill the void with endless distractions or new people or surface level connections. You are being selective, intentional, focused. You are building something that will last. And again, this is such a stark contrast to wherever this other person is at right now. While you are building, they are likely spiraling, questioning, feeling the weight of their own choices in a way they have not before. I am also picking up that this dedication you have been showing to yourself is actually kind of new for you. Not that you have never worked hard, Taurus, you are literally one of the most hardworking signs in the zodiac. But this particular kind of work, the work of choosing yourself, of prioritizing your own emotional and spiritual development over maintaining a connection that was costing you too much, this might be relatively new territory, and you are absolutely excelling at it. The person on the other end of this connection can feel the difference in you. They can sense that you are no longer available in the same way. Not because you are playing games or trying to punish them, but because you are genuinely occupied with building a better life for yourself. Your energy has a different quality to it now. It is more contained, more self-directed, more purposeful, and that unavailability is doing something to their ego that they were not prepared for. So that is the foundation we are working with. You have been putting in serious work on yourself, genuine work, and that shift in your energy is being felt by someone who thought they had more time, more chances, more access to you than they actually do. Now the second card, and this one made me actually pause when I pulled it, is the High Priestess. And I need you to really understand what this card is telling us about what is happening beneath the surface right now. The High Priestess is all about intuition, inner knowing, secrets, and the subconscious realm. And she is showing up in your reading to tell you that there is so much happening on a level that is not visible or spoken. This person, the one who is feeling your absence, they are going through something internally that they probably cannot even fully articulate to themselves yet. But you, with your Taurus intuition, which is so much stronger than people give you credit for, you can sense it. Here is what the High Priestess is revealing. This person is having these moments, these quiet moments when they are alone, where the reality of your absence hits them. And it is not just sadness or missing you in a simple way. It is deeper than that. It is this creeping realization that they may have fundamentally misunderstood the situation. They may have thought they were the one with the power, the one who could come and go, the one who had options. And now, in these quiet moments that the High Priestess governs, they are confronting a different truth. The High Priestess sits between two pillars, one light and one dark, holding the space of duality and mystery. And right now, this person is stuck between two realizations. On one side, there is the version of reality they told themselves, where they were in control, where you would always be there, where they could take their time deciding what they wanted. On the other side, there is this new reality that is slowly dawning on them, where you have moved on energetically, where you no longer need their validation, where the door they thought would always be open is actually closing. And the High Priestess is telling me that they are not ready to fully admit this to themselves yet. This is all happening in the subconscious, in dreams, in those moments right before they fall asleep or right when they wake up. They might be having dreams about you, Taurus. Not necessarily romantic dreams, but dreams where you appear distant, untouchable, where they are trying to reach you and cannot. The subconscious mind is processing what the conscious ego is not ready to accept yet. There is also this element of secrets with the High Priestess, and I am picking up that this person has been keeping their true feelings hidden, maybe even from themselves. They have been playing it cool, acting unaffected, maybe even seeing other people or pretending they are totally fine with how things ended between you. But the High Priestess sees through all of that. She knows what is really happening beneath the surface. And what is really happening is that they are absolutely not okay with your absence. The High Priestess is also your card, in a way, Taurus. She is showing me that you have accessed a deeper level of wisdom about this situation. You are not operating from ego anymore. You are not checking their social media obsessively. You are not crafting scenarios in your head about what you would say if they reached out. You are not waiting for closure or an apology. You have moved into this higher state of knowing where you understand that some things do not need to be spoken or resolved. Some things just are, and you can accept that and move forward anyway. This is what is so unsettling for them, They cannot read you anymore. The High Priestess holds her secrets close. She does not reveal everything. She does not need to explain herself or justify her choices. And you have embodied that energy whether you realize it or not. You have become a mystery to this person in a way you never were before. When they knew they had access to you, when they knew your patterns and your responses, and how to get your attention, you were predictable to them. Now you are not. Now you are this enigmatic presence that has withdrawn into your own power, and they do not know how to interpret that. I am also seeing with the High Priestess that you have been doing a lot of inner work that nobody sees. You have been journaling, reflecting, maybe working with a therapist or doing spiritual practices, really diving deep into understanding your own patterns and why you allowed certain things for so long. And this inner work is creating an external shift that is palpable. People can sense when someone has done genuine shadow work, when someone has really looked at themselves honestly and made changes from the inside out. It creates this kind of untouchable quality. Not untouchable in a cold way, but in the sense that you cannot be easily manipulated or swayed anymore. The High Priestess is saying that you have learned to trust your own intuition over what people tell you. You have learned that actions speak louder than words, that potential means nothing without follow-through, that love without respect is not actually love. These are deep truths that you have integrated, not just understood intellectually, but really embodied. And once you embody these truths, you cannot go back to accepting less. You cannot unsee what you have seen about yourself and about this dynamic. So while this person is sitting in their subconscious turmoil, having dreams about you, feeling your absence in ways they cannot quite name, you are sitting in your power, trusting your intuition, honoring your inner knowing. The High Priestess does not chase, does not beg, does not explain. She simply knows. And you know now, Taurus. You know what you deserve, you know what real love looks like, and you know that you would rather be alone than settle for anything less than that. The third card that came through is the Chariot. And okay, this is where things get really interesting because the Chariot is about movement, determination, and victory through willpower. And what this card is showing me is that while this person is stuck in their feelings, stuck in their ego, stuck in this limbo of wanting you, but not being willing to do what it would take to actually deserve you, you are moving forward with incredible momentum. The Chariot is one of the most powerful cards in the deck when it comes to taking control of your direction in life. It is about harnessing opposing forces and directing them toward a singular goal. And right now, you have taken all of that pain, all of that disappointment, all of those moments where you felt overlooked or undervalued, and you have transformed that energy into fuel for your own journey forward. What is absolutely wild about the Chariot appearing in your reading right now is the timing of it, because the Chariot does not show up when you are just thinking about moving forward or planning to maybe one day take steps toward a better future. The Chariot shows up when you are already in motion. You have already made the decision. You have already turned the key, gripped the reins, and started driving toward your own destination. This is not a hypothetical future version of you. This is you right now. And this person can feel it. They can sense that you are not just sitting around waiting for them to get their act together. You are actively building a life that does not include them, making plans that do not factor them in, investing in relationships and opportunities and experiences that have nothing to do with what you used to have together. And for someone whose ego was maybe bolstered by the idea that you would always be there as an option, as a backup plan, as someone who would take them back if they ever decided to come back around, this forward momentum of yours is absolutely devastating. The Chariot is also telling me about self-discipline and control. You have been exercising serious self-discipline when it comes to this person. Maybe you have resisted the urge to reach out, to check in, to respond to breadcrumbs if they have been throwing any your way. You have been controlling the impulse to slip back into old patterns, to make excuses for them, to give them yet another chance to disappoint you. That takes incredible strength, Taurus, and the Chariot is here to acknowledge that strength. There is also this element of victory with the Chariot. It is often depicted as a victory procession, someone returning triumphant from battle. And in your case, the battle has been internal. The battle has been against your own doubts, your own attachment, your own hope that maybe things could be different if you just waited a little longer or tried a little harder. But you won that battle, Taurus. You chose yourself. And now you get to experience the victory of that choice, which is a life lived on your own terms, with your own standards, moving in your own direction. What really gets to this person is that your victory is not about them. You are not winning because you are better than them or because you are proving something to them. You are winning because you decided that you deserve better and you started acting accordingly. That is the most powerful kind of victory because it is not dependent on their acknowledgement or validation. You do not need them to admit they were wrong. You do not need them to see what they lost. You are just moving forward regardless, and that self-contained success is something their ego cannot compete with or diminish. The Chariot is also about determination and focus. The charioteer is looking straight ahead, not distracted by the crowd, not concerned with what is happening to the sides or behind, just focused on the path forward. And you have cultivated that kind of focus, Taurus. You have gotten really clear about what you want your life to look like, and more importantly, what you do not want it to look like. And a relationship where you feel taken for granted, where your absence is only noticed after you have already left emotionally, where someone only values you when they think they might lose you, that is not what you want. So you are driving past it, leaving it in the dust, heading towards something better. I am also picking up that this forward momentum of yours is attracting new opportunities. The Chariot often brings with it success in career, new adventures, travel, exciting prospects. And as you move forward with such clear intention, doors are opening for you that would not have opened if you were still stuck in that stagnant situation with this person. The universe rewards decisive action. And you took decisive action when you chose to invest in yourself rather than in a connection that was not reciprocating your energy. This person is realizing, whether consciously or not, that you are not going to be there when they finally decide to get their life together or when they finally feel ready for something real, because you are not putting your life on hold anymore. The Chariot waits for no one, and neither do you. Now let me pull the fourth card, and when this one came up, I actually had to take a breath because it is so relevant to what is happening right now. The card is Death, and before you panic, let me tell you what this card actually means in your reading, because it is not about physical death or anything scary like that. Death in tarot is about transformation, endings that make way for beginnings, the absolute conclusion of a chapter so that a new one can start. And what Death is showing me in your spread is that something has fundamentally ended between you and this person. Not just the relationship or the connection in whatever form it took, but the entire dynamic, the entire energetic contract you had with each other. The version of you that was willing to accept breadcrumbs, that was willing to wait around hoping they would see your value, that was willing to dim your own light to make them comfortable, that version of you has died. She is gone. And that is what this person is actually mourning right now, even if they do not fully understand it yet. The Death card is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck because it represents change that cannot be reversed. You cannot go back once a death transformation has occurred. You cannot unlearn what you have learned, cannot unsee what you have seen, cannot return to a state of innocence or naivety once you have passed through this threshold. And you have passed through, Taurus. You have experienced a death of your old self, your old patterns, your old tolerance for being treated as optional. What is so significant about the Death card appearing here is that it confirms that this is not a temporary phase you are going through. This is not you being temporarily angry or hurt, and eventually you will soften and take them back. This is a permanent transformation. The Death card does not do temporary. When death shows up, something is definitively over, and something new is definitively beginning. And this person, on some level, can sense the finality of that. They can sense that they are not dealing with the same person anymore. There is also this element with the Death card about release and letting go. And I am seeing that you have released not just this person, but the entire fantasy you had about who they could be or what you could be together. You have let go of the potential, the maybe one day, the if only they would. You have accepted reality as it is, not as you wished it would be. And that acceptance, that willingness to let the fantasy die so you can live in truth. That is incredibly powerful and incredibly rare. The death card often depicts a sunrise in the background, symbolizing that after the death comes a rebirth, a new dawn. And you are in that new dawn phase right now, Taurus. You are stepping into a new version of yourself that is wiser, stronger, more boundaried, more selective about who gets access to your energy. And this new version of you is not compatible with the old dynamic you had with this person. Even if they were to come back tomorrow with everything you ever wanted to hear, the you that exists now would evaluate that offer differently than the old you would have. You would ask different questions, have different standards, require different proof. What I am also picking up with the death card is that this transformation you have undergone is visible to other people in your life, not just to this person who is feeling your absence. Friends, family, coworkers, they can see that something has shifted in you. There is a seriousness to you now, a groundedness, a sense that you are not playing games anymore with your own life. You are not entertaining situations that do not serve you. You are not making yourself small to accommodate others. And that energy is magnetic, Taurus. It is drawing in people and opportunities that are actually aligned with who you are becoming. The death card is also telling me that while this ending might have been painful, you are starting to see why it was necessary. You are starting to understand that you could not become this new version of yourself while still clinging to what was. The caterpillar cannot become a butterfly while holding on to being a caterpillar. Something has to die for something else to be born. And what has died is your tolerance for less than you deserve. What has been born is a version of you that knows her worth and will not negotiate on it. This is what this person is actually confronting right now. They are not just missing you or regretting how they treated you. They are confronting the fact that the you they knew does not exist anymore. If they were to encounter you now, it would be like meeting a stranger who happens to have your face and your name, but none of the softness or availability they remember. You have hardened in the right ways, become solid in your boundaries, become untouchable in your sense of self. And there is no going back from that. The death card also represents karma in a way. What dies must die. What has run its course must end. And the way this person treated you, the way they took you for granted, the way they assumed you would always be there, that era had to end. And the ending of it is serving as a harsh teacher for them. They are learning in your absence what they failed to learn in your presence, which is that real love requires action, that presence requires showing up, that you cannot keep someone through half measures and maybes. So death in your reading is confirmation that you have closed a chapter that needed to be closed. The book does not get reopened. The door does not get unlocked. What is done, and you are free now to write a completely new story with your life. The fifth card, and this one is so telling, is Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups is typically associated with new love, emotional beginnings, the start of something beautiful on an emotional or spiritual level. And it is showing up in your reading not to say that this person is bringing you new love, but to show you that you are opening up to the possibility of real love in a way you could not have while you were still holding space for someone who is not meeting you with the same energy. The Ace of Cups represents a full cup, an overflowing cup, love that is abundant and freely given. And what this card is revealing is that by choosing to no longer pour from your cup into someone who was essentially a leaky vessel, someone who could not hold or reciprocate your love, you have allowed your own cup to refill. You have redirected that beautiful, nurturing, devoted Taurus love energy back toward yourself and toward people, and pursuits that actually appreciate and reciprocate it. What is really beautiful about the Ace of Cups showing up here is that it represents pure emotional potential. You are not jaded, Taurus. Despite everything you have been through with this person, despite the disappointment and the hurt and the realization that they were not who you thought they were, you have not closed your heart. You have just become more selective about who gets access to it. That is such an important distinction. You have not built walls, you have built a gate. And you are the one holding the key, This is absolutely killing this person right now if they are paying any attention at all. Because what the Ace of Cups is showing me is that you are radiating this energy of emotional availability and openness, just not toward them. You are laughing more, connecting more deeply with friends, being more present in your life, showing up with more joy and authenticity. And if they can see any of this, either through social media or through mutual connections, or just through that energetic sense that people have when someone they used to be close to is doing well, it is probably driving them crazy. Because the Ace of Cups proves that you were not the problem. Your capacity to love was never the issue. Your ability to connect emotionally, to be vulnerable, to show up authentically in relationships, none of that was lacking. What was lacking was a worthy recipient for all of that beautiful energy you have to offer. And now that you are no longer wasting that energy on someone who did not value it, you are discovering just how much you have to give and how good it feels to give it in situations where it is actually appreciated. The Ace of Cups also represents spiritual and emotional renewal. There is a dove on this card in traditional decks, symbolizing peace and divine love. And you have found a measure of peace, have you not, Taurus? Peace in knowing you did everything you could. Peace in knowing you loved fully, even if it was not returned in the same measure. Peace in knowing you have nothing to regret because you were authentic and present and gave it your all. That peace is something that cannot be taken from you, and it is something this other person probably does not have right now. I am also seeing with the Ace of Cups that you are opening up to spiritual connection in new ways. Maybe you have been meditating more, connecting with nature, exploring your intuition, finding meaning in practices that nourish your soul. This spiritual deepening is part of what is making you untouchable to this person. You are not operating from the same level anymore. You have elevated your consciousness, expanded your understanding of what love actually is and what it requires. And from that elevated perspective, what you had with them looks very different than it did when you were in the middle of it. The Ace of Cups is also about self-love. And this is crucial. You have learned to fill your own cup. You have learned that you do not need someone else to validate your worth or make you feel complete. You are always complete. The love you have been looking for, you actually had it all along within yourself. This realization is revolutionary, Taurus, because once you truly understand that you are whole on your own, that your happiness does not depend on someone else choosing you, you become unchainable. No one can hold power over you through withdrawal or absence because you have learned to give yourself what you need. And again, this is what is making this person spiral. Because when they had you, you were looking to them to fill certain needs, to provide certain feelings, to complete certain aspects of your life. And now you are not looking to them for anything. You have internalized that you are enough. You have become your own source. The Ace of Cups is about that divine self-love, that recognition that you are a vessel of love yourself, capable of generating it from within rather than just receiving it from external sources. This card is also hinting at something beautiful on your horizon, Taurus. Because when you are in this energy of overflowing self-love and emotional wholeness, you become magnetic to people and situations that match that frequency. The Ace of Cups is often a precursor to meeting someone new who can actually meet you where you are, who has done their own work, who is ready for real love and not just the idea of it. I am not saying that is definitely coming or that you need to focus on that right now. What I am saying is that you have positioned yourself for it by doing the work on yourself and by refusing to settle. So while this other person is sitting in their ego, missing you, but not willing to do what it would take to actually be with you in a healthy way, you are literally glowing with emotional possibility and self-love. The contrast could not be more stark, and they can feel it. That contrast. They can sense that while they are stagnant, you are flourishing. The sixth and final card, and I feel like this is the perfect card to wrap up what is really happening here, is Eight of Swords. And this card is not about you, Taurus. This card is about them. This is what they are experiencing right now as they confront your absence and your rejection. The Eight of Swords traditionally shows a figure blindfolded and bound, surrounded by swords, standing in what looks like an impossible situation. But here's the thing about the Eight of Swords that most people miss. The bindings are loose. The blindfold could be removed. The swords, while they look imprisoning, actually have enough space between them that the person could walk through if they just took the blindfold off and looked for the way out. The Eight of Swords is about self-imposed imprisonment, about being trapped by your own thoughts, fears, and limiting beliefs rather than by actual external circumstances. And this is exactly what this person is experiencing right now. They are trapped in their own ego, their own fear, their own inability to be vulnerable or take real action. They are surrounded by swords of their own making, limiting beliefs like, I do not deserve them, it is too late, they have moved on, I will just get rejected if I try, what if I am not enough? These thoughts are the swords that are keeping them frozen, unable to move toward you, even if part of them wants to. The blindfold in the Eight of Swords represents their refusal or inability to see the situation clearly. They cannot see that you would have been open to real effort if they had shown it when it mattered. They cannot see that their own actions created this distance. They cannot see that their ego and their fear are the actual obstacles, not you, not circumstances, not timing. They are standing there, blindfolded by their own pride and fear, feeling trapped and helpless when actually they created this situation themselves. What is so powerful about the Eight of Swords appearing as the final card in your reading is that it shows the contrast between where you are and where they are. You have the Chariot, moving forward with determination and control. They have the Eight of Swords, stuck, frozen, unable to move. You have the Ace of Cups, overflowing with love and possibility. They have the Eight of Swords, feeling emotionally trapped and restricted. You have death, transformation, and rebirth. They have the Eight of Swords, stagnation, and self-imposed limitation. This person is experiencing your rejection as this massive blow to their ego, and instead of doing the healthy thing, which would be to reflect on their behavior and maybe work on themselves and grow from this experience, they are just spiraling in victim mentality and self-pity. The Eight of Swords energy is very much woe is me, poor me, nothing ever works out for me, rather than taking responsibility for the role they played in pushing you away. I am also picking up that this person is paralyzed by the fear of being vulnerable. The swords around them represent all the scary possibilities that would come with actually reaching out to you in a real way. What if you say no? What if you have really moved on? What if they open up and you reject them? What if they have to admit they were wrong? These fears are so overwhelming to their ego that they would rather stay in the Eight of Swords prison of their own making than risk the vulnerability of genuine connection. The Eight of Swords is also telling me that this person is very much in their head right now, overthinking, analyzing, replaying conversations, imagining scenarios, but not actually taking any real action. They might be drafting texts they never send, rehearsing things they would say if they ran into you, having imaginary conversations where they explain themselves and you magically understand and take them back. But none of this mental activity is translating into actual movement or change. They are trapped in the prison of their own thoughts. What is interesting is that the Eight of Swords also represents a victim mentality. And I am picking up that this person might be telling themselves a story where somehow you are the one who abandoned them, or you are the one who gave up, or circumstances were against you both, anything to avoid taking full responsibility for how they showed up in the connection. They are making themselves the victim in a story where they were actually the one who was not showing up, who was not choosing you, who was taking you for granted. The castle in the background of the Eight of Swords represents safety and security that is actually within reach if only they would remove the blindfold and walk through the swords. And that represents what could have been if they had been willing to do the work, to be vulnerable, to show up consistently. But they could not see it, or they could not bring themselves to move toward it. And now it is too late because you have moved on. Here is what the Eight of Swords is ultimately revealing about this situation. While you have been doing the work, moving forward, transforming, opening your heart in healthy ways, this person has been stuck. Stuck in fear, stuck in ego, stuck in their own limitations. And they can feel the disparity. They can sense that you are free and they are trapped. They can sense that you have evolved and they are still operating from the same wounded, fearful place they were before. The Eight of Swords is also about mental anguish and anxiety. And I am absolutely picking up that this person is experiencing significant anxiety about your absence. They might be having trouble sleeping, might be constantly checking to see if you have viewed their social media, might be pumping mutual friends for information about you, might be going through old messages and photos, torturing themselves with what they lost. But again, all of this is mental and emotional suffering that they are inflicting on themselves by not taking real action to change or grow. What is so satisfying about the Eight of Swords being the final card is that it shows you that your absence is having the exact effect it should have. You removed yourself from a situation that was not serving you, and now the person who was not appreciating you is facing the consequences of that. They are uncomfortable. They are trapped in their own mind. They are feeling the weight of their choices. And while that might sound harsh, it is actually exactly what needs to happen for either of two outcomes. Either they stay trapped in the Eight of Swords energy and you continue moving forward without them, or they eventually do the work to remove the blindfold, cut through the mental swords, and actually grow as a person. But either way, you are not waiting around to see which one happens. The Eight of Swords confirms that you did the right thing by choosing yourself and walking away. Because someone who truly valued you, who was truly ready for real love, would not be stuck in this paralyzed, fearful, ego-driven state. They would move through the discomfort. They would take the blindfold off. They would risk vulnerability to reach you. The fact that they are trapped in the Eight of Swords tells you everything you need to know about whether they were actually the right person for you. So let me bring all of this together for you, Taurus, because I want you to really understand the full picture of what is happening right now. You have been doing deep, genuine work on yourself, focusing on your own growth and development, building something of value in your life that has nothing to do with this person. That is the Eight of Pentacles. You have accessed a deeper level of wisdom and intuition about the situation. You have become untouchable in the best way, operating from inner knowing rather than ego. That is the High Priestess. You have taken that pain and transformation and alchemized it into forward momentum, moving decisively toward your own future with clarity and determination. That is the Chariot. You have undergone a fundamental transformation where the old version of you that would tolerate being undervalued has died, making way for a wiser, boundaried, empowered version of yourself. That is Death. You have refilled your own cup, rediscovered your capacity for love and joy, positioned yourself for beautiful new beginnings from a place of wholeness rather than need. That is the Ace of Cups. And while all of this beautiful evolution has been happening for you, this other person is stuck. Stuck in their ego, their fear, their inability to be vulnerable, mentally torturing themselves, but not actually doing anything to change or grow. That is the Eight of Swords. They can feel your rejection, they can sense your absence, and it is absolutely destroying their ego because they are realizing too late that you are not going to wait forever, that your love was not unconditional and endless without reciprocation, that they actually could lose you. And here is the truth that I want you to hold on to, Taurus. Their discomfort, their regret, their anxiety about losing you, none of that is your responsibility. You gave them ample opportunity to choose you when it mattered. You showed up, you were patient, you were loving. They are the ones who decided that was not enough of a priority for them, and now they have to live with that choice. Your only responsibility now is to keep moving forward. Keep investing in yourself, keep honoring your boundaries, keep trusting your intuition about who and what deserves access to your energy. Do not look back to see if they are finally getting it together. Do not soften your boundaries because they are uncomfortable. Do not make their growth your project. You have done something that is incredibly difficult to do. You have chosen yourself in a situation where it would have been so easy to keep choosing someone else. You have walked away from the familiar, even though it was painful, because you recognized it was not serving you. You have refused to settle for potential or promises and have demanded actual presence and effort. That takes immense courage and strength, and you should be proud of yourself for that. The cards are confirming what you probably already know in your heart. You no longer need them, and they know it. Their ego cannot handle your absence. They can feel your rejection, and that is exactly how it should be. Because someone who takes you for granted should feel the weight of losing you. Someone who does not choose you when it matters should experience what it feels like to not be chosen. That is not cruelty, Taurus. That is consequences. That is cause and effect. That is the natural result of not valuing something precious while you have it. You are free now. Free to build the life you actually want. Free to wait for love that chooses you back without hesitation. Free to invest your beautiful energy in people and pursuits that actually deserve it. And while they sit in their Eight of Swords prison of their own making, feeling trapped and anxious and full of regret, you get to keep moving forward in your chariot, cup overflowing, transformed and reborn, guided by your inner wisdom. That is the energy you are in right now, and that is the energy you should protect fiercely. Do not let anyone or anything pull you back into old patterns. You have come too far, grown too much, learned too deeply to go backwards now. If this reading resonated with you, I would love to know. Drop a comment and let me know if this is what you have been feeling or if the cards reflected your situation. And remember, Taurus, you are doing better than you think you are. Keep going. Your future self is already thanking you for the choices you are making right now.